It's Biomed Cafe menu. Intracellular receptors are presented today. We will talk about Type 1 intracellular receptors, Type 2 intracellular receptors, intracellular receptors domain, and quiz time. I'm Dr. Biomed, cellular and molecular biologist. Hi everybody, welcome to the Biomed Cafe channel. In this channel, complex biological and medical contents are presented in a simple, classified, and summarized form. Receptor types. Receptor can be divided into two types. Number 1, intracellular receptors, and number 2, cell surface receptors. Cell surface receptors can be divided into three subtypes. Number 1, ligand-gated ion channels. Number 2, G-protein coupled receptors. And number 3, receptor tyrosine kinases. Intracellular receptors. They are found inside of the cell, in the cytoplasm, or in the nucleus. Types of intracellular receptors. Intracellular receptors can be divided into two types. Number 1, Type 1 intracellular receptors or cytoplasmic receptors, and number 2, Type 2 intracellular receptors or nuclear receptors. Type 1 intracellular receptors. They are located in the cytoplasm of a cell. In the absence of ligand, type 1 intracellular receptors are complexed with chaperone proteins. Chaperone proteins function, keeping the receptors in an inactive state, and number 2, maintaining the receptor's dormant state. Examples of type 1 intracellular receptors. Androgen receptors. Ligands of androgen receptors are testosterone and dihydrotestosterone or DHT. Androgen receptor ligand function, protein synthesis, cell proliferation, gonad formation, and emergence of secondary sex characteristics. Another example of type 1 intracellular receptors is progesterone receptors. Ligand of progesterone receptors is progesterone. Progesterone receptor ligand function, the menstrual cycle, and other biological processes such as transcription. Mechanism of action. Entering of ligand to cytoplasm. Then dissociating the chaperone from cytoplasmic receptor. Binding a ligand with the receptor. After that, forming the ligand-receptor complex. Then, forming a homodimer. Next step is entering of ligand-receptor homodimer to the nucleus. Then, binding of the ligand-receptor homodimer to hormone response element or HRE in DNA through its DNA binding region. Finally, prompting of initiation of transcription. Type 2 intracellular receptors. They are located in the nucleus of a cell. They can directly alter transcription without undergoing translocation because they are already in the nucleus. Usually, they combine with other nuclear receptors to create heterodimers. In the absence of ligand, type 2 intracellular receptors are complex with co-repressor proteins. Example of types 2 intracellular receptors. Retinoic acid receptors. Its ligand with retinoic acid. And thyroid receptors. Its ligand is thyroid hormone. Thyroid receptor ligand function: regulating metabolism and regulating cardiac function. When thyroid receptors are understimulated or hypothyroidism, metabolism slows down. Its symptoms are fatigue, lethargy, weight gain, reduced heart rate, and metabolism increases. When thyroid receptors are overstimulated or hyperthyroidism, its symptoms are nervousness, weight loss, and increased heart rate. Mechanism of action of type 2 intracellular receptors. At first, entering of a ligand to the nucleus. Then, dissociating the co-repressor from the nuclear receptor and binding the ligand with the receptor. Then forming the ligand-receptor complex. After that, recruitment of coactivator proteins and forming a heterodimer. The next step is binding of the ligand-receptor heterodimer to hormone response element or HRE in DNA through its DNA binding region. Finally, prompting of the initiation of transcription. Intracellular receptors domain. Intracellular receptors have two types domain: core domains and other domains. Core domains are ligand binding or carboxy terminus domain, DNA binding domain, and transcription activating or amino terminus domain. Other domains are nuclear localization sequence and dimerization domain. Receptor core domains. Number 1, the ligand binding domain or LBD or carboxy terminus. It is the part of the receptor that is responsible for binding with hormones and other ligands. Number 2, the DNA binding domain or DBD. It consists of amino acids and it's responsible for the receptor binding to segments of DNA strand. And number 3, the transcription activating or N-terminus domain. It is involved in initiating transcription by interacting with components that participate in transcription. Receptor other domains. Number 1, the dimerization domain. It is involved in bringing two receptors together as a dimer so that it can bind DNA. And number 2, the nuclear localization sequence. It consists of short peptides. It facilitates the translocation of proteins from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. Key points of intracellular receptor. Intracellular receptors are receptors found in the cytoplasm or in the nucleus. Intracellular receptors bind small hydrophobic or nonpolar ligands like steroid hormones, thyroid hormones, and vitamin D. The stimulation of intracellular receptors typically results in modified transcription during gene expression. and intracellular receptors generally have three core domains: ligand binding domain, DNA binding domain, and transcription activating domain. Are you ready? Let's start the quiz. Question number 1. In the absence of ligand, type 2 intracellular receptors are complex with A. Chaperone, B. coactivator, C. HRE, and D. corepressor. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is D. Question number 2. Which of following is not androgen receptor testosterone complex function? A. Protein synthesis, B. Cell proliferation, C. Regulating cardiac function, and D. Gonad formation. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is C. Regulating cardiac function. Question number 3. The stimulation of intracellular receptors typically results in modified A. Translation, B. Replication, C. Transcription, and D. All of them. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is C. Transcription. Question number 4. It facilitates the translocation of proteins from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. A. The nuclear localization sequence, B. The dimerization domain, C. DNA binding domain, and D. Transcription activating domain. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is A. The nuclear localization sequence. Question number 5. Which of following is hyperthyroidism symptom? A. Reduced heart rate, B. Weight loss, C. Lethargy, and D. Fatigue. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is B. Weight loss. Question number 6. Hormone response element, or HRE, is located on A. Intracellular receptor, B. DNA binding domain, C. DNA, and D. co-activator. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is C. DNA. Question number 7. Which of following is not the ligand of intracellular receptor? A. Steroid hormone, B. Thyroid hormone, C. Vitamin D, D. Insulin. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is D. Insulin. Question number 8. Which domain of intracellular receptor is responsible for binding with ligands? A. N-terminus, B. LBD, C. DBD, D. A and B. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is B. LBD. Question number 9. Ligand type 1 intracellular receptor complex enters to the nucleus as A. Heterodimer, B. Homodimer, C. Monomer, and D. Dimer. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is B. Homodimer. Question number 10. Retinoic acid receptor is a intracellular receptor. A. Type 2, B. Type 1, C. Cytoplasmic, and D. B and C. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct answer is A. Type 2. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, and if you like the contents of this video, please like it. Until the next video, bye!